I picked up an injured werewolf. In my free time, I loved napping buried in his soft fur. Later, he recovered from his injuries and shifted back to human form. He warned me with a fierce glare. A werewolf only has one mate in their entire life. I already like someone else. I will never accept you. Then he turned and ran off. I just stood there frozen, having no idea what he was talking about. I'd only ever treated him like a pet dog. What does that have to do with being mates? Later, I bought a big Labrador. I was walking the dog home when I saw the werewolf squatting at my door looking all wronged. You humans are so fickle. Ditch it and keep me instead, okay? I have more and thicker fur than it. I eat less than it too. I can even make money. And all the money I make is yours. If you say no, I'll eat that stupid dog you're holding. The third month after I picked up the werewolf, he ran away on a dark, windy night. Before leaving, he warned me fiercely again. A werewolf only has one mate in their whole life. I already have a werewolf I like. I will never accept you. Get rid of those dirty thoughts of yours. I will never fall for you. Then he turned and ran off, leaving me standing there completely stunned. What was he going on about? I'd only ever treated him like a pet dog. What does that have to do with being mates? Picking up the werewolf was a total accident. At first, I thought he was a dog. 3 days after bringing him home, I found he'd turned into a human, lounging comfortably against the pillows on my couch, eating potato chips while watching TV. When he saw something funny, his big fluffy tail wagged happily back and forth. At that moment, I repeated it who knows how many times in my mind. The 24-character core socialist values. Later, he explained to me disdainfully about the werewolf species. That's when I realized he's actually a normal evolved creature. I pinched and rubbed his ears and asked if he could eat dog food. Stop pinching me. I want to eat meat. I'm not eating dog food. I'm not a dog at all. That lowly species that grovels to humans by wagging their tails. He was actually pretty hard to raise. The werewolf ran away for no reason at all. I thought about it for ages and couldn't figure out what his deal was, so I just stopped thinking about it. Life was pretty calm after that. Until 2 weeks later, a business partner asked me to meet at a cafe to discuss a project. I brought my laptop and went. Mid-conversation by coincidence, I spotted that werewolf at a glance. He was in human form, tall and very muscular, dressed in a sharp suit, his eyes cold and aloof, leaning his arm on the railing, looking down at the crowd below with an annoyed expression. Miss Shen, do you know Ji Yanli? Ji Yanli is a major shareholder of Rongan. I arranged to meet here today, because I know he comes here often. I was stunned for a second. Then it dawned on me. He was talking about that werewolf. I shook my head and said I didn't know him. I just think he's very good-looking, sorry. The business partner sighed, his expression clearly showing disappointment, and his attitude towards me got a bit colder afterwards. I didn't pay it any mind. After I finished explaining the project, I stood up and paid the bill. I saw the werewolf tilting his head, talking to a well-dressed, elegant urban woman. They were standing very close together, close enough that their bodies overlapped, like he was holding her in his arms, or even kissing her. I looked away without thinking much of it. On my way home, I passed a pet hospital and saw big dogs displayed in the window. One yellow Labrador. I put my hand against the glass. It just happened to look up and grinned at me, then lifted its paw and pressed it against my palm through the glass. In that moment, I decided to buy it right away. Raising a dog is way more comfortable than raising a werewolf. Dogs can't talk. They love eating dog food, and they're very well behaved. When I'm not home, they always lie lazily on the carpet, waiting for me to come home and walk it. I took it to lots of places. The beach, the ocean park. One day after visiting the poster gallery, I went to buy coffee. The staff wouldn't let the dog go inside, so I tied it up at the entrance. I warned him to behave himself. 2 people suddenly showed up next to me. The werewolf and the woman who was super sweet to my dog that day. Dogs, those creatures that wag their tails to beg for human attention. They are total embarrassments to the entire canine family. The werewolf next to her had really dark, gloomy eyes. He stared at me with a cold, dark look. I ignored them and patted the lab's head. I whispered, "Be a good boy, baby. Mommy will make you beef balls tonight." Then I stood up and walked right past those two. Didn't even spare them a single glance. When I came back out, my dog was gone. The leash that was tied up was loose. Both the leash and the dog were nowhere to be seen. I froze for a split second. The werewolf was standing at the door smoking. "Look, she doesn't want you anymore. Mindless creatures like this, how could they ever be loyal to their owners? Werewolves can even smoke?" I walked away in disgust, calling my dog's name to look for him, asking passersby as I searched if they'd seen a yellow Labrador. I walked almost 2 kilometers and found nothing. I started to panic a little. I was just about to call Dongbao for help. Another snarky voice came from beside me. "So what if he's lost? Why bother looking for that stupid dog? Can't even track his owner by scent. Total disgrace to all canines. What's so great about him anyway? Dingy yellow fur. Looks like a pile of human crap. Look at how he acts. Obviously not a good guy. Don't just go getting a dog randomly. All canines are super possessive." I couldn't take it anymore. I held back my rage and snapped, "Are you insane?" He froze for a second, then looked totally shocked. "You're yelling at me for that stupid dog? You've only had him for 2 weeks. You're yelling at me over him? Next, you're gonna set him on me, aren't you?" "You can't do this to me." He looked so wronged, like he was about to cry. His usually narrow wolf eyes were wide open, faintly tinged with red. I was so dumbfounded. No idea what his problem was. He's my dog. Of course I'm gonna protect him. Besides, you said we're done with each other. I looked him up and down for a second. "Looks like you're doing pretty well in human society. Great, so pay me the compensation for the bite you gave me before. I need to buy toys for my dog." You... He looked like he was about to die of anger. "What kind of toy does a stupid dog need anyway? Mr. G..." Someone suddenly called him from across the road, cutting him off mid-sentence. That guy ran over excitedly, staring at him with bright eyes. It was the business partner from that day. "You know Mr. G? Why didn't you tell me earlier? We can sign that project contract right away." He turned to talk to me. His enthusiastic attitude was totally different from that day. "Ha ha ha ha, I'll have the legal team draft the contract right now. If I'd known you were that close to Mr. G, we wouldn't have dragged this out for so long, right? I lost my dog and now I'm forced to work overtime on my day off. Stupid werewolf." I forced a smile. While the client wasn't looking, I turned around and glared hard at the werewolf. He looked even more innocent, and even more wronged. Tears welled up in his big eyes, like they'd fall any second. It was already 7 p.m. when we finished signing the contract. I walked out of the company exhausted. I saw a man and a dog facing off at the door. The yellow Labrador had his body tensed up, scraping his paws against the ground, growling to warn the bad guy who smelled like a wolf. The werewolf was leaning back casually with his arms crossed, looking super unimpressed, saying stuff I couldn't understand. He was talking to the dog. Can dogs understand wolf language? I could barely believe it. I stood a little ways away watching for a while, then walked over and rubbed the dog's head. "Don't be mad. Mommy's back, baby." The werewolf was silent for a few seconds, then walked over too, hung his head and squatted down next to me. "What are you doing?" He leaned his head forward a little. "I want head scratches too. I'm also your responsibility, you know. You can't just pet him and ignore me." I was so dumbfounded again. Earlier from the business partner, I'd already found out who he was. The youngest son of the G family in Beijing. Shareholder of Rong'an, the largest semiconductor manufacturer in the country. He's basically at the very top of the social ladder in terms of wealth and power. How could he be such a shameless werewolf? I stared at him quietly. He didn't say a word. "Did you just steal my dog?" I didn't steal it. The leash was way too loose. It came off the second I tugged it. The dog ran off chasing the ham on its own. I had no other choice either. I stared at him quietly. "I didn't say a word, okay? I'm sorry, you're way too nice to him. You pet his head, buy him toys, and even kiss him. I'm jealous. You were only supposed to raise me this wolf, remember? You were the one who said if you had a wolf you liked, you'd have nothing to do with me anymore. And told me not to get any ideas about you, right? Is that secretary lady today the wolf you like? You like her, but you still come mess with me? Is this the loyalty you talked about? I'm not being unfaithful. That wolf is my biological sister. We share the same mom, for real. He explained in a panic. You were the one hugging and cuddling other guys. I was mad, so I said those hurtful things. Werewolves only have one mate their whole life. Not like you pure humans, who are so wishy-washy and so unfaithful. His voice got softer and softer as he spoke, sounding more and more hurt. Finally, he just wiped his tears with the back of his hand. You saved me. You saw my full wolf form. And you've hugged me so many times. That makes you my chosen mate. That's how that works? You can't do me wrong. I don't like you. I petted you before because you're a canine, like a dog. I have no idea how you werewolves define the term mate. But in our human world, hugs and pets don't make someone your partner. I told him straight up. I got a commission from that project. Consider it payment for your food costs while you stayed at my place. We're even now. I don't like you, and I don't want to be your mate. Please stop doing all this weird stuff from now on. Goodbye, wait. Let's never see each other again. After that, I pulled my Labrador and left, walking really fast. I wanted to get away from this weird werewolf. He didn't run after me, so I breathed a sigh of relief. After I got home, I made beef tofu and cabbage soup for the dog, paired with a bowl of dog food. I sat next to him watching him lick the plate completely clean. I felt so bad for making my baby go hungry all day. That werewolf is so mean. Let's stay far away from him when we see him later, okay? I was half asleep at night when I suddenly felt something furry rubbing against my chin. I thought it was the dog, so I pushed him away instinctively. Stop it, baby. I mumbled mom, and the thing paused for a moment. Then it rubbed even more gently. Its nose lightly brushed my neck. Warm breath fanned across my skin, making my whole body tingle slightly. I opened my eyes and looked straight into a pair of dark, narrow eyes. He was staring right at me, his gaze holding restrained stubbornness. It was that werewolf. I tried hard to push him away, feeling panicked and scared. A faint red tint appeared in his dark eyes, but he just gently held my wrist down with his paw. His huge wolf body blocked in front of me, shielding me tightly in the middle, blocking out all the unease around me. His soft black wolf fur brushed my cheek, so I turned my head away awkwardly. I kicked him lightly. He let out a muffled groan, his body trembling slightly. He just slowly moved closer to me. What's wrong with you? Stay away from me. I was about to speak anxiously when I heard his muffled voice. I feel really bad. Just let me lean on you for a little while, please. His wolf head rubbed my cheek gently. His fuzzy ear accidentally brushed my forehead, letting out low whimpers now and then. I froze for a second. Are you hurt? Or are you feeling sick somewhere? He flicked his ears, but didn't answer my question. His huge wolf body snuggled quietly next to the bed and didn't press down on me at all. I was silent for a moment, then patted his paw lightly. Let's switch positions, okay? I'll move over next to you to keep you company. As soon as we switched positions, I immediately pulled my wrist out of his paw and climbed off the bed. I grabbed the knife on the nightstand, pointed it at him, and yelled, "You lied to me!" He tilted his neck back sadly and started howling. The howl was really loud. It was so loud that I yelled at him to shut up. Do you want the neighbors to come bang on my door? He shut up right away. He just jumped down and lay flat on the floor. He looked at me with his eyes all wet. His ears were drooping too. He was obviously really upset. I pressed my fingers to my temple. What's wrong with you anyway? I'm in my sensitive period right now. Wolves need their mate's scent to calm down. My head hurts so bad I feel terrible. I had no choice but to come find you. I thought for a second, so you guys have a physical connection with your mates? It's not like they can just pick whoever they want as their mate. The scents also have to match each other. Is that what you mean? I stared weirdly at the wolf in front of me. He was burning up all over. He kept rubbing his paws against the ground, lying on the floor all pathetic looking. Begging me, I compared our size difference for a second. I can't beat him, and I can't drive him away. I let out a sigh. I grabbed the clothes I took off yesterday from the balcony that I hadn't gotten around to washing yet. I tossed them right in front of him. Is this good enough? The scent is too weak. This isn't enough. He rubbed his wolf head against the jacket a few times. He was so dissatisfied he rolled around on the floor, a 2-meter-long wolf rolling back and forth on my floor, and he kept whimpering too. He rolled all the way into the bathroom. He somehow knew to reach for the basin next to the tub and pulled out a piece of worn clothing with his mouth. What do you think you're doing? I looked at him holding my clothes, all confused looking. I was so embarrassed and helpless at the same time. I wanted to step forward and grab it back, but I didn't dare provoke him. This wolf was clearly in a manic state. I stepped back 2 steps and ran outside. I ran straight into the second bedroom. I locked the door and pressed my hand to my pounding heart. I sat on the cold floor for a really long time. Before I finally calmed down a little, I let out a yawn. I climbed into bed and started dozing off. I was so sleepy. I'll settle the score with that pervert wolf tomorrow. When I woke up the next morning, the wolf man had already made breakfast. He made plain noodle soup. There were poached eggs in it, and a few stalks of green vegetables. It looked really appetizing. He looked at me really cautiously. He wiped his hands on his apron over and over. He had a clear, ingratiating smile on his face. I let out a sarcastic huff. I leaned against the doorframe with a cold face. What was all that about last night? My sensitive period started. I missed your scent so much. I couldn't help it. You pervert. I'm not a pervert. I'm a pure black wolf. Ha ha ha, you dare talk back to me? He lowered his head aggrievedly and didn't say anything. His slender waist was wrapped in the apron strings. He had a tall, straight posture. He looked like some kind of elite professional. Totally different from the pathetic wolf last night. I quickly tapped my head to chase away all those messy thoughts. Why does your sensitive period need my scent? Because I like you. I like you. I see you as my mate. So only your scent can calm me down during my sensitive period. This sudden claim that I'm his mate made me feel really awkward inside. I suddenly got curious. If I don't help you, what are you gonna do when your sensitive period hits later? Then you can just watch me bash my head against the wall and die. I've chosen you. Only you can calm me down. No other person or wolf can do that. Are all you werewolves this straightforward and stubborn? I'm not forcing you. It's just that I really can't live without your scent. I'll treat you really well. I'll do whatever you say. Will you try giving me a chance? Stop talking. Where's Lucky's food? He froze for a second, then realized Lucky was the name of that Labrador. He got all puffed up with anger instantly. You want me to cook for a dog? How does that lowly creature deserve that? For me to cook for it? Even if I make it, would it dare eat it? Are you gonna make it or not? He was silent for a moment. He walked up to me and squatted down. He popped out his ears and tail, fluffy and wagging back and forth, trying to charm me. Can you get rid of it and just keep me instead? Look, my fur is thicker, softer, and I'm more obedient than him. I can also earn money. All the money I earn is yours. Keep me, okay? Only me, no one else, okay? His paw... Oh, wait, no. His hand was resting on my knee. Slender wolf eyes are forced to widen wide to act cute, into an oval shape, blinking nonstop, trying to make me soften up. In a daze, I remembered what I searched last night about the young master of the G family. Good-looking, from a great family background. A total born privileged kid. In the few publicly available photos, he also looked like an aloof elite looking down on everyone. Anyway, he's nothing like this cooing, pitiful wolf right in front of me. I went quiet for a second, was just about to say something, when the doorbell rang, along with a man's clear voice. Miss Shen, are you home? It hit me after a second. It's my coworker who lives upstairs. He loves dogs too. We plan to take the dog out together today. I glanced down. The werewolf's tail is tensed up. His eyes are filled with scarlet red. He smiled when he caught me looking, hiding all the ferocity of a carnivore. Turned to ask me, Nyan Nyan, let me chase that bad guy away for you, okay? He's not a bad guy. I nudged him. Go hide in the bedroom for a bit. No way, are you gonna do something I can't watch with him? You can't treat me like this. A jealous werewolf doesn't listen to reason. The doorbell kept ringing for ages. I had no choice. You didn't warn him. If you don't go hide right now, I'll ignore you forever. You're yelling at me for some stinky guy? He looked at me in disbelief. His eyes were full of hurt all of a sudden. He started crying again. He stood up while wiping his tears, dragging his feet towards the bedroom. I'll be good. Don't ignore me, please. I can't understand a werewolf's way of thinking. I shook my head, stood up and opened the door to let my coworker in. The dog somehow ran out already, running around him happily. He seems to like you a lot. Oh, right, he does. My coworker bent down to pet the dog's head, looked up and saw the noodles on the dining table, smiled apologetically. Oh, you made noodles already? I thought you hadn't eaten yet. So I brought you fried dough sticks. I thought for a second, took the bag from his hand. No worries, I can give the noodles to the dog. I actually feel like eating fried dough sticks right now. Thank you. When I got home, it was already very late. I changed into my slippers. Looking at the dark living room, I thought to myself, that werewolf must have left already. I couldn't help but sigh in relief. I opened a can of food for the dog, stood up and stretched, turned around and saw a pair of bitter wolf eyes. I was so scared I stepped back twice, tripped over the dog that was eating the canned food. My back hit the corner of the table right on. It hurt so bad that tears started streaming down my face. You deserve it. The werewolf picked me up and put me on the sofa, rubbing the bumped part of my back, he said with a cold face. Distracted humans deserve to be punished. I didn't say anything. Sat on the sofa sobbing quietly. Shut up, stop crying. I'll bite you if you keep crying. You're still crying? All right, stop crying. It's all the stupid table's fault. We'll ignore it from now on, okay? Be good, baby, don't cry. My heart hurts when you cry. He nuzzled my neck with his head. His tail wrapped around. The fluffy fur brushed across my face, wiping my tears for me. If it still hurts a lot, you can pull the fur on my tail. I stared at the tip of his tail for a long time, grabbed it and wiped it on my face. I rubbed hard, trying to wipe off all the tear stains. The sensitive period isn't over yet. Stop, don't do that. I squeezed hard, his face gradually turned pink. He knelt in front of the sofa and whispered. I squeezed again with a blank face. He let out a whimper, covered his eyes shakily. When he looked up again, his eyes were all wet, glistening with tears. I let go of his tail when I saw that. You can squeeze harder if you want. It doesn't hurt when you touch me. Pervert. I'm obviously a pure black wolf. Pure black looks really good, he retorted quietly. The ears on top of his head flicked back and forth. When are you leaving my house? I don't want to leave. At least wait till I... Is the obvious phase over? Wolf form or human form? I look super good either way. And I'm loaded too. I can provide for tons of pups. Why do you hate me so much? I huddled a little smaller. Who would ever want a wolf as a husband? What if he eats me? He eats raw meat and drinks raw blood, for crying out loud. He can even crunch raw bones into pieces. If he eats me, the cops will never find out. Plus, his wolf form is so huge. What if he can't control his strength and hurts me? The consequences would be unthinkable. No way, absolutely not. He froze. Like he never expected this reason. After a long silence, he asked sullenly, You don't want a wolf as a partner? So you'd reject anyone who's a wolf? I can stay in human form forever. I won't even show my tail or ears. Would that work? I shook my head. He pressed his lips together. A flicker of hostility crossed his eyes. I really can't do this. Go crush on someone else. With your looks and personality, you can easily find someone 100 times prettier than me, he said stiffly. No, I won't. I'm a loyal wolf. I'll only ever love one person in my whole life. I'll never switch to someone else. You don't like me now. Then I'll just work hard to make you like me. He rummaged in his pocket and pulled out a black card with gold trim and stuffed it into my hand. It's for you, no spending limit, swipe as you like. Now that I've given you money, you can't kick me out. I was silent for a moment, then patted his arm. Turn around. Why? He asked while turning around obediently. Put your tail away. I swallowed hard and reached for the hidden slit on the back waist of his suit. Turned out it was a custom-made slot for his tail. It was just covered by 2 layers of overlapping fabric. My hand trembled and brushed the fabric aside. He jumped at my sudden movement. Stop touching randomly. Someone might see us. Shut up. I pulled my hand back like nothing happened. I was just curious. How come you can stick your tail out even in a suit? Are all your suits like this? Do you wear them like this when you're out too? Of course not. He stuck his tail out again, its fluffy fur rubbing against my palm coquettishly. I only wear them like this in front of you, baby. This shameless wolf moved into my house. I don't know where he learned these tricks. He started putting aside his pride as a wolf to suck up to my Labrador. Dog toys, dog food, dog treats. Even when he orders milk tea, he never forgets to make a cup of goat milk for the dog. Not to mention they can understand each other's language. When I got home, I saw a wolf and a dog snuggling on the couch, watching TV while munching on potato chips. I thought the whole world had gone crazy. Jianli, dogs can't eat potato chips. They can. He shifted back to human form and held up the chip bag to show me. There were 4 big words written on it. Dog potato chips. Baby, humans can eat some too. Do you want to try some? I gave it a light touch and asked him sincerely, Mr. G, don't you need to work? Rangan is such a big company. Is it really okay for you to slack off here every day? Wolves in sensitive phase don't need to work. He could tell that I wasn't very happy and had no idea what he did wrong. He put down the chips, his ears drooping, and mumbled that the work for these few days would be handled by my older brother. He said my job is to get through the sensitive phase properly and bring my partner home. His older brother is way more famous than him. The G family from Beijing often appears in public view. Their eldest son is also a wolf. No, a werewolf. I felt my entire worldview was being shattered. I asked with difficulty. So the entire G family isn't all? Only me. My older brother and my little sister too? He whispered. Our mom is a werewolf. So all 3 of us are too. Werewolf genes are super dominant, you know. If we have pups together, the pups will be werewolves too. He pressed his lips together, went to the kitchen and brought a plate of strawberry cake, and handed it to me ingratiatingly. Don't be mad, baby, okay? I got you this delicious cake. I specifically asked them to add tons and tons of strawberries, all freshly airlifted. Try it. I looked at his expectant face and hesitated for a moment. I still picked up the fork next to me. Suddenly, my phone started ringing. It was my direct boss. He said there was a project that needed to be discussed and asked me to head back to the office right away with overtime pay offered. I replied with an okay and hung up the phone, only to see the werewolf looking totally disappointed. I made a whole table of dishes. All of them are your favorites. You don't have time to eat them? It's okay, your work is more important. Go ahead, baby. I support you. His little speech sounds like a vow that he'll always have my back. No matter when you turn around, you'll always be able to see me. I choked for a second and had no idea what to say. Where did this guy even learn this stuff? The originally arrogant, cocky, stubborn wolf is forcing himself to act like a sincere, thoughtful green tea wolf. You don't have to act like this. I sighed. It's just a meeting. I'll be back really soon. Save the dishes for me. I'll eat them when I get back. I grabbed a strawberry from the cake and popped it into my mouth, and added, the strawberry is really sweet, thank you. I didn't find out until I got to the office why my boss was in such a huge rush. The G family sent people over to discuss cooperation, and specifically requested our team. The G family's next head of the family was also present. He's Ji Yanli's older brother. He is way more steady than the young master. He was wearing a crisp, well-tailored suit. His face was as cold as ice. He had an aura that kept everyone thousands of miles away. After the project introduction was finished, he still didn't say a single word. After a moment, he pointed at me. You stay. Everyone else get out. His fingertips tapped on the office desk. Once the meeting room was quiet again, he asked me bluntly, Miss Shen Yan? Do you like my little brother? I hesitated for a second and said in a low voice, I don't want to start a family with a werewolf for the time being. Sorry. No need to be sorry. I understand. He nodded knowingly. The problem right now is, he likes you. And he's already decided you're his mate. Werewolves have a sensitive period once a year. Wolves in the sensitive period suffer a lot without their mate's scent. I hope to sign an agreement with you. Even if you don't like him, you can come stay with him during the sensitive period every year. I will give you corresponding payment as compensation. Actually, I have a question. If werewolves need their mates this badly, and their mates can never be replaced, then if their chosen mate passes away, what happens to them? You seem to underestimate how important a mate is to a werewolf. Among the werewolf clan, once a mate dies, the werewolf will carry their mate's body to the snowy mountains, find a cave, and wait for death without eating or drinking. You could say once a werewolf chooses their mate, they are basically handing their life over to that person. It wasn't until I got home and stood at the door that I recovered from what Ji Yanzi said. I couldn't understand it. Survival is supposed to be the goal of all biological evolution, but the werewolf race is evolving in a really weird direction. Mate-sensitive periods? Dying if they lose their mate. These things that are clearly more harmful than good for werewolves not only weren't eliminated during evolution, they became even more crazy and extreme. This is so absurd. I can't wrap my head around it. I zoned out at the door for a long time. Before I took out my key to open the door, Ji Yanli was still in his wolf form, eating a pack of cookies with the dog. They almost fought over the last cookie. Ji Yanli, I called out to him. His pitch-black figure froze for a second, and immediately shifted back to human form, looking at me totally at a loss. Wolf form feels more comfortable. I didn't know you were coming back. I didn't do it on purpose. I won't shift form again in the future. Baby, just treat me like a human. Don't treat me like a wolf. Werewolf, werewolf. The wolf part is just an adjective. I'm still human at my core. You can't leave me because of this. He kept pinching the palm of his hand, waiting for my answer super nervously. I looked at him with a complicated expression. I took the initiative to say, I'm hungry. Is there any leftover food you made? After dinner, I have some things to ask you. Actually, I had no idea what to ask. My mind was a total mess, and I didn't know what to say. Food that's been sitting out for too long doesn't taste good. I didn't have much of an appetite either. I ate a little bit, then put down my chopsticks. The werewolf with his head tilted is eating strawberry cake, shoving spoonfuls of cream into his mouth. His face was brimming with joy and satisfaction. Babe, this cake is so yummy. Want to have a bite? I shook my head, originally wanting to ask him if eating that much cream is bad for him. But seeing how happy he looked while eating, forget it. Werewolves are people too. They should be fine eating it, right? I pursed my lips. I said no and asked him, since your family is so powerful, why were you injured next to a trash can at the beginning? My brother's rivals overestimated themselves and tried to kidnap me, to threaten my brother. But it's all sorted out now. It will never get you involved, babe. He promised me, and suddenly leaned close to me, and sniffed carefully. Hey, babe. Why do you smell like my brother? I met him tonight. Ji Yanli, have you ever thought about what would you do in the future if I insist on not being your mate? If babe doesn't like me, then I might as well die. A wolf that can't win its mate's favor is the most useless. It doesn't deserve to live. He mentioned death so casually, as if wanting to leave this world was something totally insignificant. This race's indifference towards life shocked me once again. I asked again, since you want me to be your mate so badly, then why did you say before that you already had a wolf you liked? And told me not to covet you? The werewolf coughed when he heard this, put down the fork in his hand, and started to settle old scores with me. That day a man sent you home, and you even hugged him. For the werewolf clan, hugging is something only mates can do. Babe, you've hugged me so many times, and you even hugged him too. That's betrayal. His pretty face was full of grievance. I watched you two hug from upstairs. I was so mad. You didn't even coax me when you got back. Plus, my brother told me to go home at that time. I said those things in a fit of anger and ran off. I regretted it afterwards, actually. I know I shouldn't assume humans are the same as werewolves, but I can't help it. The thought of you being hugged by someone else drives me crazy. A man hugging me? I thought for a long time before I remembered what happened that day. It was a foreign business partner. Hugging is just normal social etiquette in his country. This wolf deliberately misinterpreted it as intimacy. Since you thought I betrayed you, why did you come back? My brother scolded me badly. He mumbled in a low voice. My brother said humans are different from us. A narrow-minded wolf like me will never win my mate's favor in my whole life. If you betray me, it only means I'm not good enough. I need to be more generous and treat you better so that you'll change your mind. What kind of hopeless romantic nonsense is that? Are all werewolves this weird? I took a deep breath. The custom bracelet was a gift from Ji Yanli. There was a blade hidden inside it. I carefully took the blade out and cut the rope. While the kidnapper was yelling into the phone, I grabbed the knife on the ground and pressed it against his throat. He was the only one in the empty space. I tied him up with the rope. The more I thought about it, the more off it felt. How did this loser get past my bodyguards to kidnap me? Until Brother Ji Yanyu found me, he said with a dark face that Ji Yanyu had an accident. In this world, the werewolf clan is divided into two factions. One faction advocates harmonious coexistence with humans and actively integrates into human society. They are the pro-human faction. They have followed the Ji family as their leaders for generations. The other faction is extreme in their actions. They want to destroy the peace between humans and werewolves and dominate the region. They are the villain faction. They have always been enemies of the pro-human faction. Human power is not to be underestimated in the first place. Plus, they joined forces with the pro-human faction. After several confrontations and negotiations, the villain faction's power was greatly reduced, and they could no longer pose a big threat. But the surviving members of the villain faction have always hated the Ji family bitterly. Once they almost hurt Ji Yanli, I showed up in time to stop them. I took the injured Ji Yanli home, took good care of him, and cured him. Now they deliberately created the illusion that I was kidnapped, just to lure Ji Yanli into a trap that they had carefully set up. I'm here, baby. I'm completely fine. Right in front of you. With my original personality, I actually couldn't really accept that werewolves have this lifelong obsession with only loving one person. I could see Ji Yanli came looking for me and faced so many opponents all alone, while doing her best to protect me. My heart really twitched hard. The way she tried her all to shield me really made me fall for her completely, and I could never pull away ever again. 2 months after that kidnapping incident, Ji Yanli and I got our marriage license. She was grinning from ear to ear, and even bought new clothes for the Labrador. She held it in her arms and moved to the new house. Our new life was happy and really cozy, except some people gossiped sometimes. They said I was punching above my weight to date Ji Yanli. I couldn't argue back. 'Cause even I kind of felt that way too. Ji Yanli's older brother heard about those rumors and told me specifically not to mind them. Love is carved into the werewolf gene. It's instinct. All evolution of werewolves is leading them to find someone they love mutually. You loving him is his good luck. Shenyan, I'm sure you know this too. You've always been the one holding the power in this relationship. Yeah, I get it. Actually, this is unfair to Ji Yanli. He shouldn't be controlled by the werewolf instinct. Werewolves have better physique and energy than most people on Earth. There's always a price to pay for that. We can't take all the good stuff for ourselves, right? How unfair would that be to you humans? Love is something powerful. A shackle werewolves voluntarily put on themselves. Is that what you mean? I stayed silent for a moment, and finally vaguely figured out my previous confusion. Evolution is fair. It created werewolves, a species so strong that it's almost unmatched. but also left an unescapable weakness in their genes. For werewolves, a partner is both a requirement for survival and also the doom of their existence. To Jianli. That's exactly what I am. When I was sitting on Jianli's back, riding across the Siberian steppe, I held tight to the wolf fur around his neck as we cruised around. I felt the super refreshing wind blowing past my ears. It was so beautiful and joyful. All I could hear next to my ears was thumping heartbeats. I love you. I think a lifetime is so short. Sticking to one person. It'll pass in the blink of an eye. One last question from me. Do you guys eat humans? His eyes widened right away. Baby, why would you think that? Werewolves are humans too. How could we possibly eat? Until he snapped back to his senses. So, you were scared of this. That's why you refused to take a werewolf as your partner? A little, but I'm not scared anymore now. Your werewolf clan is way different from what I imagined. I waved at him. Can you turn back into your wolf form? I want to sleep next to you tonight. You're bigger than the Labrador, so you make me feel safer. His eyes lit up in a split second, like the brightest star in the night sky. He's handsome, rich, loyal, and good at acting cute. He's almost the perfect partner anyone could imagine. And he's the one who can't leave me. He's the one who begged me to love him all pitifully. I won't lose anything no matter what I do. Thinking that, it seems like giving it a try is okay. Let's try it then. It's not like I have anything to lose anyway. Werewolves in their sensitive period are super clingy. They love acting cute a lot. They really like kisses and hugs. He even complained I didn't kiss him enough. The sensitive period usually lasts 1 month. So one day after that month, I smacked the werewolf's restless hand away in annoyance. Your sensitive period is over. You can't be this unrestrained anymore. I like you. That's why I can't help kissing you. It has nothing to do with the sensitive period. If you don't let me kiss you, I'll feel really bad. If I feel bad, I'll go bang my head against the wall. You get what that means, right? You can't go on without me. You're abusing me right now. You can't do this. I'm not stopping you from kissing me. I pressed his head down, took a deep breath, and said sincerely, I think you werewolves are better off dating other werewolves. At least you match each other physically. After I actually got together with a werewolf, I regretted my previous let's try it decision countless times. He's way too playful and noisy. Like seriously way too energetic. His stamina is off the charts. He always trashes the house. I really can't handle it. Just me, one werewolf, and one dog. I thought life would go on peacefully like this. Until I got kidnapped? The kidnapper was a frail young man. He's a rival of my brother Gu Yi. He's yelling crazily at his phone, saying I have to pay with my life. Looks like that aloof cold brother has pissed off a lot of people. This kidnapper is totally inexperienced. He looks super fierce and menacing, but he didn't even drug me at all. It's that stretch of jungle. They lied to Jianli that you were inside. By the time I got there, Jianli had already fought off all the werewolves surrounding him and was badly injured as well. That's not all. He thought you were dead. He's gone completely berserk. It's fine, take me there. A berserk werewolf can only be calmed by his mate. Sorry, you might need to go into the jungle. Get on, I'll take you there. I froze for a second, then climbed up right away. When I finally saw Ji Yanli in person, my heart clenched hard all of a sudden. The usual gentle and obedient Ji Yanli was gone. In front of me was just a wolf covered all over in dust, growling out of control. With bright red eyes, it hurts just to look at him. Ji Yanli, I'm here, it's okay. He nuzzled me carefully, checking my scent over and over again, making wronged whimpers in his throat, like he'd suffered the worst injustice ever, and was terrified to the extreme. He was crying, his paw resting lightly on me. His grip was unbelievably soft, like I'd vanish into thin air if he let go for a second. Don't cry now, okay? Baby, I'm here, I'm perfectly fine.